Which will be interesting to see what we get. I imagine we're going to get the Lion ban, but the other operator will be an interesting pick here because we have sometimes seen even Thermite, for example, banned on this map. But no, we're going to start with Ying coming out. We were just talking earlier about how that's been a high pick rate. That is a common ban for this map, though. Coastline and Border both see quite a fair bit of Ying bans.
Yeah, Ying and Lion, nothing really surprising here.
I mean, we're still most likely to see Mira Echo for the next two, but that's I mean, that corresponds to the ban rates we saw earlier for good reason. But it does mean Maestro gets played quite a bit. We've seen some good Maestro play from Easily, but that is knocked down by Mouz, so they're pretty much counter-banning some good Maestro play that they've shown on a couple of maps, really. We've seen some good play with it on Coastline, Clubhouse.
Curry ban or Mira, yeah, there you go. This thing with Maestro being banned first by Mouz. It kind of puts Rogue in a position where do we go for the standard Mira ban or do we just pick something else? Because Valkyrie is a strong operator for intel, especially on this map. We've seen a lot of flanks when you're defending an armory come down at the last second, where the attackers are just able to move through the hallway, through the back, into the office, and into Fountain, and that really has caused quite a bit of havoc amongst these defending teams. But we'll see, maybe there's a sixth pick here at the end. Seems like Mouz's lineup would work very well. This is the thing, you know, Glaz, Blackbeard both work on this sort of play, and IQ will be the operator to be picked. Of course, with Echo not being banned, being in play, of course, makes a lot of sense to bring the IQ. She definitely doesn't have the amount of utility that she had 6 months ago, but can definitely bring a lot to the table.
I think that's a good play, though. But yeah, Valkyrie being able to be played now, it does make a lot more sense to bring that, which is likely to happen again. As you said as well, with the yokai drones, the difficulty in trying to plan to the last second with those without knowing where the yokai drone is, definitely a problem for a lot of teams. Once you can spot it and identify where it's at, if you have the chance to make a shot on it before they're able to move it, or even catching it while it's moving, good chance you're going to nerf that. I guess play at denial at that point, but they also have a smoke as well. That will help with that. Nice place by Easily.
We'll see how he tries to set up his own yokai. Is so far defenses pretty normal on site. They reinforced the back of the hallway. Fountain as well, fully reinforced, and putting all three here for Eclipse to sit behind. This is where having the Buck helps a lot. You can use those grenades to push back the Jaeger, or possibly the Bandit's going to be playing in there. And Shuttle might be the one to go in. You see there the top floor where you can just chuck on things down. And those have done quite a bit of work over time. Remember seeing transitioning in from the Paris Major after the patch, some people kind of forgot that you can't do the top floor rotation onto the ventilation. Yeah, they got downed here and there.
It is an unfortunate change, I think, because a lot of players had relied on that, and we know time management is a struggle for a lot of teams these days. So that is definitely a something that will help quite a bit. You definitely don't want to get down by that, because not only do you not save time, you lose time getting picked back up.
Oh, vertical scanning around here, maybe detecting a pulse, but of course, pulse not in play. So far he'll be safe. Just detecting any equipment that is set up by their opponents, any potential cameras set up by Super. So far, hasn't really found much except for the default cam in the hallway. And the rest of the squad here of Rogue just sticking on the site. Super all the way in jail. And he's just waiting to pounce. Not detected at all. But scans of the IQ. And you see Mouser just sitting back. Vertical just jumps on in and gets the shot on the Bandit battery. Should make things easier to push through it. There we go. England will start opening things up. Of course, there is a soft wall next to it, so it is not a fully reinforced wall. And the IQ is still afraid of a potential pulse. Super pouncing in. Gets the first one on Vandal in Customs.
Well, he's definitely playing a good roam downstairs. Take it out the Buck. That is usually your target, of course. You do want to do it before the wall gets open, but in this case, didn't have the chance to get that kill. That is a nice one by Super. He may even just rotate back to site at this point, now that the attack actually is commencing. So as he does so, no, it looks like he could be rotating towards Metal, but no, he decides to stay in Customs just to make sure no flanks come around. This is a pretty good CCTV hold still as well from Mouz, but I got to imagine they're going to have to worry about a flank one. They actually go for the push here, as well as easily could have those Yokai drones. You see one still in reserve. So it's all on him to deny this plant, along with the smoke of Slash, who plays a very good smoke.
Yeah, you see Rogue all set up in the back of the site, behind the metal wall. Shuttle moves in the back, grabs the kill on the Zofia of Hyper. Gets shot down. Super with the second one on Beastly, pouncing in from the back. England down as he puts the diffuser on the floor, all up to Vertical, who has no health left as Eclipse takes him out. Beautiful play from Rogue. Not a single point of damage taken in that entire round. Beautiful little play from Rogue.
I mean, it is it's interesting to see whenever they actually have that patience. I mean, we've seen them struggle on Rogue in terms of holding back, restraining themselves, letting the enemy come to them. They absolutely demonstrated that round, and it paid off. I mean, outside of Super, of course, going to the bottom, but he didn't overplay it. He didn't try and roam around early on in the areas where Buck was going to be playing and end up in a situation. He waited till he had the intel on when Buck was going to be playing downstairs, made his move, and nicely done by Rogue. Now, looking back at the stats, I believe Rogue is the only one of these two teams who has played this map, and it was 6-4 against SK, so this definitely does favor Rogue here. But I do think coming into this week, one thing to consider as well is now some of the better teams should be more adjusted to the changes that have come. The new operators, the changes to the recoil and things like that should be a better place for teams that are the more strong teams like Rogue to make their comeback now. But Mouz, you know, never know. They tend to surprise quite a bit. So I still think it could go either way, but yeah, looking at the match history does favor Rogue here. We will see a similar attack lineup, but a different bomb spot, of course. Can't defend the top floor, so they're going to go downstairs. They actually are going to bring that pulse on Super, so he could play it from a variety of places. But he's definitely a good sight player to be able to deny or even help out some of the attackers upstairs from down below, make call-outs for them, or even shoot up through the floor if he catches someone in a compromising position.
One thing I like is the reinforcement from Fountain into the hallway. It makes things a lot more complicated for the attackers to hold the rotations, and they set up so many reinforcements at the top floor, even playing easily with a shield in Fountain. They're going to just turtle in here and make sure they at least are able to delay Mousesports as long as possible.
This is really the more common attack vector as well as usually attacking, because you know that there's not going to be a ton of defense dedicated to the office, but as you mentioned, a lot of reinforcements and other resources being dedicated to it will help that one man hold it off.
Yeah, there are 6 reinforcements being used up top. It means there's only 4 available downstairs, but they do have the castle, might slow things down just a bit.
The upside, of course, of leaving more soft downstairs is retake situations. So there is still the potential for that to be used for either team. So it's not the worst thing ever to be a little short on resources downstairs, but as we were talking about earlier, you know, when it comes to bomb sites like this, losing the top floor tends to be the worst part, but you're never going to hold the top floor the entire time on really any of the downstairs bomb sites on this map.
Yeah, just try to make things as complicated as possible for the attackers before they head down to the site. And you want to make sure that you have as many resources left as a defender. Shuttle all the way up top here.
They are going for the office push as predicted by Rogue. So we'll see how long they can hold this off. Hyper is using a bit of utility to try and stop him, but again, Rogue playing very back and consistent in terms of not pushing it.
Easily, instantly falling back and trying to have support from his teammate. Unfortunately, Super will get taken down as the C4 misses the Zofia, and they still get shot down. Early lead here for Mousesports. The Jaeger, seeing the bullets running right next to him, will fall back for just a bit. Very efficient push here from Mouz as they take most control of the top floor. Only the army is still being left, and easily gets the final shot on Vandal. The headshot will connect to tie it 4-4. The flash comes in from the Habana, trying to slow easily down. Double flash as well as he goes in for the kill, but England is ready for him and takes him out, only taking 1 bullet to the body. Shuttle is spotted, can fall back through the hatch, but he's going to use Eclipse here to bait his opponents into him. If the drones did not detect him, this might turn out very well here for Rogue. Both players peeking in the back. He'll hit the shot, and down Hyper. That's a Zofia on the floor. Just going to have to fall back, slowing things down here, Rogue.
They still have plenty of time to work with, though. 50 seconds, and they are getting close to sight in terms of top floor control. They have taken down 2 defenders, but Eclipse turns it around to a 3v3. Now it's starting to look like that might not work out for Mouz.
Oh, the wall that was opened up there by the Zofia coming in to bite them in the back. England, though, will get the kill on Shuttle, leaving Rogue with only 2 alive and Eclipse low on health. Mouz with 2 players, England and Hyper, at half health practically. Beastly at full in the Capitao. Can use those crossbow bolts very effectively if they can gather the intel, and the castle has spotted Eclipse. Goes down all on Slash with 15 seconds left. Very possible here for the smoke to clutch out the round, but he turns around to the last second, and Beastly just walks into the site. Gets the last kill on Slash. Mouz to tie it up 1-1.
so many angles being played by Mouz against the defenders. You saw 2 kills, both from the Zofia through holes in the floor, due to just rogue players not paying attention to the backs and in the smoke as well, looking the wrong way. I'd say most of the deaths were just due to looking the wrong way at the wrong time. Unfortunately for the player inside Archives as well, losing that fight against the Hibana in a situation where he probably shouldn't have. I believe that was easily. He did get at least the kill out on the AC, so that was a good play, but either way, probably shouldn't have lost that other fight. Gotta imagine Rogue gonna try Vince again and probably gonna play it a little bit tighter this time, maybe a bit better crossfire. Falling back was great and all, but they didn't fall back into crossfire.
That's the big change. Now, yeah. The Bandit being picked instead of the Pulse. You realized that the C4 didn't really do too much for them.
They'll still potentially get a C4 though on this Bandit.
I mean, what they might do now is just reinforce the office wall from the outside balcony instead of in Fountain, or maybe dedicate more utility to the Fountain office hold.
Yeah, I mean, they did an okay job of stalling out some of the Fountain, but yet they weren't able to push back for too long. Zofia just started launching in a lot of lifeline shots, and they couldn't really do much to deny that. Their life was obviously a little bit more important, and of course, easily pushing back did allow them to get almost two kills. So it was a good play, but they needed a bit more rotatability to, say, for example, come up east stairs to be able to take office back from the side, things like that. They just didn't have that kind of flank set up because most of the players of Mouz were pushing from that single angle. But either way, they still have the potential to land a C4 if they want. There could be a yokai drone, for example, that is able to do a live ping for a C4 to hit. So there's still a way they can do it without Pulse, and I would like to see maybe some potential to do that because they're probably going to push the same way through office again.
Okay, this is now the setup. They have two solid reinforcements from the intro into the armory, and they set up so much, pretty much all of their utility in the top floor. Opening up the hatches will possibly only leave two players downstairs. Eclipse, well, easily now here playing behind the Fountain, and there you go. You got Super in the bathroom to prevent flanks, and they'll open up a rotation hole here. Slash can even use that to get some quick shots in, protect his bandits back. Setup looks pretty tough here from Rogue. See how Mouz try to peek through it as they only have the one hard breacher to rely on. We'll have to use vertical effectively here on the IQ to shut down any bandit batteries. Unfortunately, the site is downstairs, and it's a very ballsy move to do.
Yeah, this is a, speaking of ballsy moves, they're sneaking it pretty good. And there's that wall you were talking about on Fountain, gonna get open right up from England. That's gonna put a lot of pressure on them, so then you don't have to manually attack it. That's just gonna force easily, no, he's actually gonna contest it. Fortunately for him, England's drone is on top of it, but survives the potential engagement there with taking two drones down. He does have a ADS, so you can see right there as well, to deny some flashbangs coming in potentially.
Now the Capitao is, though, all the way in CCTV, so can't use his utility just yet. England finds the first one on Eclipse, and there you go. The crossbow bolt, the rotation of the Capitao, flashbangs, and Zofia lifelines being launched right into easily. As he's detected, those will instantly ping you, and England goes in for the shot, easily going down. They know there's a player inside of that office, the archive here, and that Shuttle gets taken out by Vertical, just peeking through the doorway. Very quickly now, we're only left with the two players that are down on the site, and Vandal is going to make their lives very complicated with the shotgun. Even both players playing off of the site here, trying to get any picks. 5 players still alive from Mousesports.
This definitely does not seem like Rogue's bomb site. They are really losing a lot of angles upstairs. They're losing the fights. I got to imagine we're going to see Mouz even maybe get another kill from holes in the floor. They're taking good advantage of the buck to tear open the floor. So it's going to come down to, I feel like they are going to have to play some aggressive plays here because a 5v2 in this situation is all but lost if you don't make the right play in, say, the last 30 seconds.
Oh, Slash might come in behind his opponent. Should be hurt here in the main lobby. Goes in for the Capitao shot, and there you go. Takes him out 4v2. Bandit just trying to delay his opponents as long as possible. Gas canister thrown in. As Hyper, though, gets the impact on Slash, taking him out with the buck. Just going in for his shotgun shot. Still, diffuser's not planted, and as I say that, England will set it down. Super will have to rotate in from the supply room. Should be cornered in here by Mousesports. Yeah, there we go. You see them all prone on the ground, even waiting around by the servers. And the instant he walks out here, they're going to hear him. And they have already set up the crossfire here, Mousesports, to wait up for him. And England yet again capitalizing on his positioning post-plant. England has very much come to his own.
Yeah.
I have to say.
I feel like we're seeing a lot of slow reaction times from Rogue outside of that first round. The last 2 rounds, they've had potential shots that they've just not been making. Makes me think maybe they just aren't warmed up. Maybe they didn't do a proper warm-up before this match in terms of aim. And reaction time really is, I'd say, because their aim seems okay. It's more just the reaction time just not working out. But we're also seeing smart plays coming out from Mouz, the way that they opened up the hole on the fountain and played it for a while, but then backed off and kept him focusing on it so they could get him from behind. Just little things like that, again, comes down to being shot in the back or looking the wrong ways. Is pretty much the story of the last 2 rounds just all together. We are seeing a Twitch be brought this time if Vandal sticks on it. Super is going to 6-pick over to the Valkyrie, though, so they're still going to have that, which helped on the first defense, which they won on lockers. So, of course, they had to defend event choice, but it does speak to them not wanting to go to the 3rd bomb site, which does reflect what you were talking about from Ranger before, meaning that they just really don't want to deal with the 3rd bomb site in terms of top floor control issues.
Yeah, and that's the thing, being able to watch the players and just sit behind them and see how they perform during these LAN events, especially at DreamHacks. You can kind of tell which places they struggle on and which places they're very comfortable with. And, well, you just got to see it firsthand, I guess. Finally, though, Rogue will go back to their initial bomb site of Archives and Armory. And we'll go for standard setups here. Bandit might, I don't know if they're going to reinforce the whole wall on the balcony and then set up batteries through there. So far, it doesn't seem like the case.
I'd say the big difference here coming out from Mouz is instead of going with the Buck, they're going for the Twitch to take out the batteries without opening up, without being potentially contested by Super as much. Because there's the old just Zofia the floor and then use the Twitch drone trick, which involves a lot less risk than what we saw the Buck going through last time. But
This is
again,
what
half reinforced wall, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something we're seeing a lot more often. I wouldn't say with like anywhere near 100% success rate, but it is interesting to see that a wall that was traditionally always solid really being kind of played with now without the ability to use mirror windows on it.
I mean, maybe it tricks the attackers into a false sense of security, I guess, saying, oh, okay, we can just come in and destroy this soft wall at some point and do something against it, but very much would like to pick the brains of Rogue or Mouz later on to see what they think about that sort of reinforcement. Of course, we've been seeing a lot of reinforcements being set up recently from the break room into the hallway. Makes things a lot more complicated for the attackers to just hold off rotations from the hallway post-plant. But first, you have to go through the initial part of the checklist, which is let's open up the wall. Let's see how we can deal with any yokais that are set up around this position. And of course, that is why you see that shield in position, easily moving away from open spot in the fountain. Make sure he's closer to the site. The Zofia will destroy the shield that we were just talking about. And Mauser getting ready to go, but that's
not the best.
That's a
hole there
right there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You have to be pretty precise with those X-Kairos, or it is very likely to end up in situations like that. And really, without Maverick, there's nothing you do. If they had Maverick, of course, they could finish that hole. But who would risk a play like that at the point? They are looking to hunt down this yokai, though, so they can be set up for the plant. But I think they're doing a good job in terms of time management. A minute 15 left. They haven't lost anyone. They still have a fair bit of utility. They got the wall open. Smoke plant potentially coming down here as Slash tries to counter it, but Shuttle's the one to get the kill.
Just moves into the side desk, gets the kill, but Vertical is trying to rotate in to support his teammates. He will hold off the rotation in the back as Vandal will get the kill on Super. Diffuser should get set here by England. 4v4 retake. England going down a Slash. Hitting the shot to the SMG. 11 Eclipse just walks on in. That's one kill, not the second though. That's Beastly to land it. 3v1. Beastly low on health.
No.
Diffuser's already been set. He can go for the headshot, but no, walks right on in. And that'll be the kill from the Echo. Defense will take this as Rogue cement themselves as being pretty darn good on Armory Archives.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, they can only go there so often, which means we're very likely to see this go to a 3-2 scoreline in favor of Mouz, because the way they've been playing Vents, there's not just one easy thing I would say that could fix it, but I do appreciate that they're actually just going to scrap it all together and go with customs. Interesting choice. Maybe they can feel they can hold the top floor a little bit better on this particular bomb site, or potentially at least counter a passport push.
Yeah, at least this way, you have some sort of rotation potential instead of just squeezing yourself into the Fountain Archive / Armory.
Which definitely hasn't been working.
Yep. Here, unfortunately, you go directly from the balcony into CCTV, and that's why when you have this mono position to defend, and when you can enter from the break room, come in from the east stairs and play in the hallway, and even push in from the hallway through the armory, there's so many positions where you can just get pinched in that one spot in CCTV, and once that happens, it's very difficult to defend, and it relies on being able to get quick shots on the attackers before they can react fast enough, but that's where Zofia comes into play.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the potential to give up CCTV and set up for a retake of it without losing bodies, because late round, a lot of the attackers are going to be focusing on looking downwards through that, especially with the bucket play, right? He's going to be opening up holes because they've gotten so many downward kills from vertical play on the defenders on vents. That is very likely they would be focused on that downward angle, trying to get more of those kills. Could be an opportunity for a flank if they're not good on flank watch, but that's up to Rogue to catch on that. I do appreciate Super, though, trying to bait them into thinking it was going to be one of the other two bomb sites, either bathroom tellers or vents, by having the castle and then 6 picking over to the Valkyrie, but it didn't really seem to influence Mouse's choice of operators.
All right, Super setting up his last shutterbug here in the hallway. I'll just move back as Hyper getting the initial Zin. A lot of people go for, ooh, okay, gets the spot on the Valk cam easily. Here takes it out.
Nice
Vault cam being taken down as well. There we go. Move into east stairs, already part of the checklist being done, and Claymore's been added to protect the back.
I got to credit Mouz, though, with mostly really good time management. Most of these rounds, they've been very efficient in their takes. Rogue have been very passive in terms of letting them get them out of control, falling back whenever they're being contested, outside of the second time around vents where they just couldn't. And they tried to fight it. Seems like that's not working out. So Mouz so far seem to have such a strong advantage. I am curious how it'll be, though, after this round when sides switch, because it seems like obviously we'll see a different Rogue in that case.
All right, just looking around for any Valkyrie cameras that have been set up or any yokais to help or support the defenders in their quest for victory. England just sitting up outside of the break room. Flashbangs being thrown in to burn the ADSs, and that is one out of play. The hallway has not been reinforced in the break room, and this time it's to allow the defenders to shoot into the break room from the hallway if need be. Vertical is going to try to make that as complicated as possible, though, as they'll be hunting for Super. It'll be Rogue with Super winning that gunfight. Vertical falling down. No more IQ advantage for Rogue, but they've taken so much damage early on. Eclipse with 1, but it's Vandal and Beastly to refrag and turn it into a 3v3. Easily he's on the floor, and now is 6 feet under. Vandal take him out, and now proceed to shoot down as much of the floorboard as possible, but Shuttle bouncing immediately, taking tons of damage, but 2v2. Still, Mouz half control of the top floor. Yeah,
they're still in a good position to be able to take this utility-wise. They still have the smoke for the plant from Beastly if they need it. But Slash is also still alive with full health, and we know how he can be when push comes to shove if they start to push that. He gives his position away, though, with the smoke throw, but it at least does about 25 to 30 damage to Hyper.
Yeah, not too shabby. Softening up Mousesports for any potential plays at the end of the round. Crossbows are going to get thrown in. There were no firebolts left, but Hyper hits the shot on Slash, all on Shuttle, as he knows that his opponents will be dropping in from the hatch. They use the smokes perfectly here to drop on him in tandem with the Zofia. Shuttle low on health now. He goes in for the quick shots as Beastly's on the floor. 1v1, and he gets them both!
Wow.
Shuttle clutching the round for Rogue! And that defense works out perfectly there. Even with a rough start, Rogue end up taking it off of the perfect plays on the MP7 for the Bandit.
Shuttle. What a MVP that round. That was at least a 3K from him then, because he had gotten the 1 kill through the hatch before that. So definitely his reaction time seemed a lot more on that particular round, and that was definitely a good one for them. I would not have expected him to be able to pull off that clutch with that low of health and the firepower that was on both of those defenders. So it was definitely a good clutch for them, and I guess they made up for at least one of the Vents' failures, and they come out with the point advantage, which is not what I would have expected. But Lockers, of course, is where we're going to see Mouz start. No surprise there. They're going to be bringing a slightly different lineup here, assuming they stick to it. Same with Rogue. I do wonder if Slash is going to pull that glass, but he does very commonly do a glass push here for Lockers, so he is going to stick to that, and they're probably going to get that wall open and smoke and glass it up.
And that's the thing. You mentioned earlier on in the pregame analysis that these smoke pushes have been very common.
Yeah.
And on border, especially when you're attacking armory, it's very powerful.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, they don't have a ton of smokes to work with. It's just Slash going to be using his own. But that usually seems to be enough because it's a very small room. You don't need a ton of extra to be able to play that. And of course, you are going to at least have some grenades from Shuttle, the lifelines from Eclipse, things like that to push the defenders back a bit, assuming those don't get used earlier. And, well, they have their hard breacher. So Vertical, I think, going to be an important player in this. And, of course, trying to get that C4 from below or trying to at least contest Shuttle from getting those batteries that are most likely to be there. So they're not going to go with the old Zofia Twitch combo that we saw come out from Mouz.
All right, Vandal will set up his bandit batteries. Potentially go for a trick here against the Habana pallets. We'll need to use the IQ of Super here, Rogue, to potentially shut those down. As but so far, the defense has worked out pretty well with a 3-2 advantage for Rogue. Mousesports looking to tie things up on their first round. Remind you that Rogue won both of their defenses on the Armory, one of them being absolutely flawless, like held 100%.
So yeah, they've definitely had some very up and down rounds. Slash giving away that he's going to be playing that glass if it wasn't already obvious from the reveal by getting some nice sight lines through Passport into Customs. Can't quite find anyone though.
And this is the thing with bringing the IQ is that, yeah, sure, it doesn't, well, the operator doesn't do as good as she did in the past, but detecting your opponents, especially if there's a pulse playing from downstairs, helps up very well.
You gotta keep in mind, of course, though, they aren't playing an Echo on Mouz at all, which was pretty much, you know, what they were playing every round on Rogue. So the IQ, I say, was a bit more important for Mouz than it is for Rogue. But Rogue have been a team that have utilized IQ quite a bit for a while, even before it was back in vogue. That was, interesting Claymore in terms of being very obvious. Yeah. But I got to imagine some of that is going to maybe blend with the red carpet in the hallway.
It's not obvious. It's hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, no, it really is, because to see the lasers, if they go a bit out, like a little bit of distance, that will hit the red carpet potentially, making it harder to see the tip of that laser. And chances are, if you round that corner quickly, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So I appreciate the extra bit of thought that went into that.
Very much so. And that's what separates the big teams.
The mice from men.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Vertical still downstairs, trying to detect those hearts, and so far, no beats to be found.
I don't think they have a heart.
Yeah, well, they are coached by Ranger.
He took them all.
Yeah, that's what you sign in when you have him as your coach. But
yeah, well,
Habana will be able to open up the side wall. There's still a bandit battery in the back.
Cleaner hole this time from than what we saw from Mouz before.
Should be able to vault in, I guess. It's not that clean of a hole still.
No, it's not ideal. I mean, if you don't need any of the X-Kairos anywhere else, then obviously making a walkable hole is the best to do. But Shuttle taking down Vertical means they're not going to have to worry about C4 now outside of course, the Valkyrie.
Yep. Now you see already the smokes being thrown in. Slash already downed and taken out by the smoke canister. And a hold the outside window here by the armor from Eclipse. He can launch some of his utility left here, but no, Shuttle will get shot down by Hyper. They vault on in, but easily gets down and taken out by England at the shotgun. All onto Eclipse. The diffuser's not been set. An immediate peek from Vandal as Mouz get the kill. And that is that 3-3. And Mouz and Rogue, that is a very efficient bit of defense from Mouz.
Unfortunately, I mean, we didn't get to see what happened, but I'd love to know why that plant didn't finish going down. They had the smoke, they had the coverage, seemed like they were in a great position. Might have been just another smoke that we didn't see, started touching and doing damage to him and he had to back off of it. But either way, I thought for sure they were going to get that plant down, at least be in a good position to make that happen. But since they didn't, they just started falling like flies after that. We'll see vents just be skipped entirely. So they saw what happened to Rogue and they're just going to go straight to Customs. So we'll see how that goes. They are going to also potentially tease the castle with Vertical unless they actually use castle as part of their defense, which it looks like they do. So we'll see how that gets set up in terms of whether or not that's going to be an effective use of those castle barricades. But definitely possible to kind of cordon off some areas and kind of control the space a bit more downstairs. Or there are some ways to use it upstairs to be able to make sure that the defenders will not be pushed as aggressively or as quickly on some of that upstairs defense before they potentially fall out.
It'll be I'm very curious to see and very much contrast and compare between the defenses of both teams on this site. As we said in the past, and we'll keep saying until this whole thing is changed, if they do end up changing border, is that you need to have control of CCTV. It is imperative that you have control of it. If you don't, it's going to be very easy for the attackers to have a hold top floor and just chuck things down onto you and get a quick plant, especially having the Buck, which is a very popular operator to pick in North America. It can get pretty complicated here for the defense.
They have a Buck and a Sledge, so they've got redundant on both grenades and potential vertical destruction. So yeah, if they take that CCTV, if even one of them's left, heck, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Speaking of Buck, but I was going to say, as you're pointing out, Slash, of course, as well, the amount of destruction you could do with that rifle, the OTS, is nearly sometimes equivalent to Buck. Either way, though, a great initial kill onto the smoke player means if they can get towards site with enough manpower left, it should be a much easier plant. Although there is going to be a C4 from the Mute, as well as potentially the Bandit.
It's very fun to see the well, all teams really are running the different skins for the weapons.
Ooh.
Vandal will get the refrag here. The Buck will get taken down in revenge.
Well, at least he got one first.
Smoke being a huge operator lose.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much an equilibrium of operator importance. And that's a pretty interesting bit of rotation here from Slash. I don't think anybody will be expecting this spot here from Mouz.
No. So we'll see if we can actually get some kills from it. But I don't expect anyone to push outside just yet. Maybe once it starts to get the plant down. But Slash decides to rotate instead. So unfortunately did not work. But hey, at least he's not wasting time in a position. Nope, he's going to actually just readjust it. Might have fallen off on accident. Either way, though, it seems Rogue have just completely stalled out.
Now he chucks in the first smoke, I guess. Have to look in, and Rogue will just dive into the site, realizing everything's pretty much open for them. With the smoke not available here from Mousesports, they don't really have to worry about much. The C4 way off here. Slash does not detect anything. That's easily for one with the refrag, and Slash is able to watch it. Eclipse with the refrag, 3v2, and they're not watching. They don't know where he is, and Slash gets the kill on Vandal. Hyper with the rotation, and the instant he peeks in, should be a quick kill here. Eclipse looking in from the outside of detention will get the last kill, and Rogue on point.
And that goes contrary to what we were talking about with the top floor control. They just completely foregoed most of the top floor control, instead just went for a smoke plant. But they have the coverage there to be able to pull it off because they did it with enough manpower and enough time left. So I appreciate the gumption there in trying to make that happen, because you could tell they all paused for a moment where it looked like the game was almost frozen. I got to imagine most of them were on their drones checking to make sure it was okay to make this plant execute. So that brief pause there, I think, paid off in terms of making sure they were ready to just, you know what, forget the top floor, let's just do it now. And of course, as you pointed out, a missed C4 there, definitely working against them. But they're going to try their hand at vents now, see if they can pull it off, whereas Rogue just could not whatsoever. Beastly going to sneak in that pulse. So we'll see how big of a factor that is. But it definitely seemed like, you know, with Rogue struggling so much on it, shouldn't be too hard for Rogue to try and do something similar to Mouz. But a lot of it came down to that good vertical control and utilizing vertical. That should be, in theory, better off for Rogue with 2 of the soft breachers for vertical play with Buck and Sledge again. As we were talking about, you can do a lot with Glaz in terms of opening up things as well. So if they're able to play it remotely as well in terms of aiming down on top of those players, bye-bye, Mouz.
See, it'll be a Tom and Jerry yet again, as right now.
Or Itchy and Scratchy.
Itchy. Isn't that like a more copyrighted thing at this point?
Probably.
All right, well, vertical reinforcing the top floor here in the archives, as the rest of Mouz just operating as normal. There's not much out of the ordinary, as of course vertical setting up his barricade. Probably diving down to play on the site, potentially. Maybe put an extra barricade on the bathroom. Not sure if he already did set that up. Shuttle protecting here Beastly, who falls back into the customs desk and now rotating into the hallway. Shuttle trying to utilize the same thing that we saw before. Is of course, it's a 4-meter high wall. You're not going to be able to reinforce the whole thing. And indeed, Mousesports don't even bother going through.
And England has already taken a fair bit of damage as well. He might not live to be able to stop the plant. So this is a good start for Rogue so far.
Yeah, they go into CCTV. Shuttle is out. And of course, we'll take down the default camera. There you go. You can obviously use the skeleton key to open up a wall. Just looking down into the hallway easily. Trying to spot maybe there's a player in the back here.
Ooh, the Bandit trick attempt.
They're in the half wall. They have the potential for it, but Eclipse using his frag grenade to chuck it in around the side, and there you go. Both Bandit batteries will get taken down. Do they have info on the bandit position. Doesn't matter, because now they open up both spots, and you don't really need all of your 3 X-Kairos. And there we go. That's all they needed. The one spot so that they can move in. Just take down either the Jaeger or the bandit playing on the site here, or just the top of the site. The Fuser's still outside. He's just gonna go and grab it. In the meantime, the rest of the team is on Rogue, scouting around, using their drones, making sure they have info on Mouse positions.
It is interesting how long Rogues spend outside. We saw it on the last bomb site. They're also doing it on this bomb site as well. I mean, it makes sense for Slash, but we're seeing Eclipse, for example, also hanging out there easily as well. They're not too concerned about actually taking a lot of map control in the first 2 minutes, which does surprise me. It seems like they're more about getting the setup for their take from the outside. Smoke's coming out now, so again, going with a similar plant.
Yeah, they have the glass as well, as you mentioned, for Slash to play with. Super holding off the rotation in the bathroom. Perfect bait here against the C4 as the IQ just comes in from the back. Beastly, though, with 1 kill. Hyper with the refract. Super from the back getting 1. As he looks in. Shuttle with the refract 3-3, but Vertical and Hyper have something to say about it easily. Gets the shot. Taking down Hyper, who is watching the open floor from the top. 30 seconds left, and they should have a beat here on the Habana's position, as easily will have to dive into Beastly. Can use his cardiac sensor to get a better position, better beat on where the Habana is.
10 seconds remaining.
10 seconds almost here on the clock. That's the kill. Beastly is now down 1v1 with 8 seconds on the clock. Vertical will have to take out easily, as easily running on in with the bearing 9. He can't get it. Vertical will tie things up. Mousesports getting around, and beautiful play from Vertical, able to fall back, watch one hatch, but also use the wall next to him to hear any drops or movements that happen by the server side.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he was in a situation where he was going to have to make noise coming in, which is why you saw him spending so much time first looking through holes, hoping to get a kill. But yeah, at the end of the day, it ran out of time. Now, we were talking at the beginning of this match how bad it would be for both these teams if they tie. I'd say that's looking very likely the way we've been seeing this back and forth here between these two.
And this is the thing. A 5-5 tie in this matchup is detrimental to both teams.
Big time. Well, either way, though, the way the bomb sites have been going down, it actually has been pretty much exactly the same. Both teams defending lockers successfully, both teams failing on vents, both teams defending custom successfully. So I would say if you're talking evenly matched, they may be playing very different ways, but they seem to be getting up the same end result. So either way, though, this is where one of those two teams needs to try and break away from the pack here. Otherwise, they do risk that 6-4 scoreline against them. That would definitely be even more detrimental than just a tie to the team. But
if anything, you want to win this to get those 3 points. Getting 1 point, because Mouse and Rogue are only 1 point apart, I believe 15 and 16, if I'm not mistaken. A tie would not get them anywhere near the top, because remember, the only teams that make it to LAN are the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get those 3 points, then you put yourself at 18 and 19 points. You get closer. Maybe EG or SK would tie a game, maybe lose a game within the next couple of play days. That's your opportunity to pounce and get the spot to go to Rio.
I mean, I think by the end of this play day, when we look at the standings, it'll be pretty easy to tell if one of these two teams is likely to make it.
Very much top performance. And this is, I love this from Hyper. We see a lot of this on Coastline, for example, where you have the hatch in Aquarium that gets shot down from below, and then you can set up your Valkyrie cam right at the edge, so you can see both floors at the same time with the same camera. It's a very efficient way of utilizing your Val cams.
It's why you still see Valkyrie run despite Maestro and Echo and the bulletproof cams, all these other ones. You don't get the same flexibility with all those other ones that you get with those Black Eyes.
Yeah, they might seem to be the same operator in terms of what they do and what they offer to the team, but the mechanics of the operators are completely different.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes a huge difference here. We'll see if it is an impact on the round itself, but they are trying to be careful here in terms of droning out. But eventually, once they start to approach the areas they think are clear by the drones, they potentially will get spotted out by Vertical on that pulse, which is interesting that Beastly's not taking that role this time. They switched it over to Vertical. So hopefully he's going to be able to be at least as effective on it as Beastly was last round. Good droning out coming out here. They're making sure they are set up for this execute now. They They can't go for a smoke and plant quick like they did on the other 2 sites. So they're actually looking like they want to take this bottom floor control first to set this up, which is kind of contrary to what we've seen on their other plays for the most part.
Shuttle touched the grenade at the last second. No damage will be done to the player in the back of Fountain as he has moved positions. And there you go. That's vertical now out of play. It's only the Bandit though. Not a huge loss for Mousesports. It's 4v5, but the amount of time that's been burned off here by Mouz is fairly substantial.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of careful droning this round as opposed to some of the other ones where they were a bit more about just trying to find those angles and things like that. They feel like they need this map control this time, which with vertical playing the way he is, definitely could be a bit more problematic than they're thinking.
It's a good thing vertical went back in and checked on his heartbeat sensor to see if he can actually get the kill there on Rogue player moving around easily back on the drones. England is just waiting in for opponents to come in. The Zofia is of course being used to detect opponents' positions, not only stun them, and Shuttle's just going to move in on the site and get 1 kill. Does he spot the second one by the back of the workshop? And yes, he does. There you go. It's already Eclipse to get the kill. 5v2 with Diffuser being planted at the top stairs. That's a difficult retake as England gets spotted and shot down. Beastly last man alive. He's cornered in the back of Armory. Shuttle gets the finisher on England and easily using the Habana holes already been set up by the archives from outside of the off. That is a long angle to hold. I'll tell you what there, bruh. But that was a long shot, and it does indeed connect. And now Rogue on the cusp of victory, but can definitely be tied up here.
I said a big part of the success of Rogue that round was playing from different directions. Once they droned and got the map control on the customs and lobby side of the map downstairs, the way you saw Shuttle push in, for example, they were completely focused on the doorway as well as the heartbeat that they picked up going upstairs as well. So they were focused in so many different directions that Shuttle was able to walk in without any grenades left and get 2. Well, I'm not sure if he picked up the second kill, but he definitely helped on that. No, either way.
It was already the Zofia that had gotten it, but still, when you're pushing he 2 angles, it was either Zofia or the Buck would have gotten it because, well, the smoke that was still on site couldn't really do much, or whoever. Smoke was top stairs. I correct myself.
But either way, it was still just a good multi-directional push, and the split focus of Mouz meant they were just not able to repel a lot of that attack. And the fact that they droned it instead of getting close, a lot of the time the heartbeat sensor might have picked them up. Definitely a good play, but I also guess that maybe Vertical was also not staying as consistent on his cardiac sensor as he should have been. Maybe he was spending too much time just looking through the ump sights, and might have just left him in a position where it made it much easier for him to get flanked, because had he been, say, crouched down doing 360s, probably would have spot Shuttle at some point.
And that's a tunnel vision that you get in that position when you're so focused on your utility or on your sights. You kind of get pushed from the side, and really you're not expecting the Buck to just waltz on in. Maybe a drone to come in first beforehand, so you can kind of...
Well, that's where Eclipse's drone paid off, because he kind of snuck it in a good position earlier on. Well, either way, though, this is do or die here for Mouz, as we were just talking about. This is either both teams get 1 point here, or Rogue goes away with 3 and a potential shot at Rio.
Either way, this is a bad spot for Mousesports. If they tie 5-5, their chances to go to land...
Yeah, being the higher one on the leaderboard, yeah, absolutely. They're in much more of a worse situation than Rogue are, because, yeah, if they get the 1 point, kind of leaves them somewhat in the same position, but Mouz don't want to drop down at all.
If Rogue get the win, they get 18 points up on that board. They'll be 2 points away from tying after this play day, but then again, SK and EG with 20 points a pop. That's a fair way up, and if C9 can upset tonight, then we might just see a change.
Speaking of changes, it's interesting to see Slash picking a different DMR operator. Not going to go with the Glass for once. He's going to go with Dokumi, but easily taking down Beastly. Nice initial kill. Just the Jaeger, so it's not a ton of utility off the board. Had he been on the pulse, that would have been a better kill, but either way, good start.
Very much a good start here. And it's 1 player down. Easily gets tagged all the way in the back, and you see, of course, the wall from Archives and Armory is left soft. It's pretty good decision. Grenade's going to get thrown up top to make things difficult for Vandal on the Bandit, but he will fall back as Slash trying to delay him as much as possible with his drone. Of course, with the SMG-12 nerf and change to the recoil, CZ-75 has seen a ton of play recently.
Yeah, definitely doing some work with that. Again, I like this multi-directional push we're seeing from Rogue. They're putting a lot of pressure on this Bandit, for example, of Vandal, to watch multiple directions. I got to imagine he might actually try and contest Slash, though. He's definitely setting up for it, and the C4 unfortunately whiffs.
Yeah, Vandal, though, able to get the shot. He is down, however. So if Easily can connect on this, it'll make things a bit more complicated. Slash trying to find the leg, and there you go. That's the kill. 3v4, Easily in control of the balcony. As they're watching the C4, but that's why you bring the Dokkaebi. The calls help you a ton. And those holes that are opened up to make things easier to chuck C4s from below will vary up the...
Oh, no.
Oh, if you can find it vertical, just needs to chuck up.
Oh, what are you doing?
He checks it again. That diffuser has been set. He just runs away.
He cost them the round potentially right there.
C4 is going to get thrown up from Hyper into the fountain, but it does not connect through the wall. And 3v3, but utility's already been used up here by Mouz. They'll have to retake as the gas canister gets shucked in from England. Goes in, but Shuttle's ready for him in the office. 2v3 is Rogue. Ready to take this one home. Calls still in for Dokkaebi. And they know exactly where they are. Shuttle with one more. Last alive is Hyper. He has nothing left. The Shuttle, one more angle from the fountain, will take him out. And GG will play. That is Rogue to take it 6-4.
Well, I gotta say though, that was a very close matchup. And I always feel like the 6-4 scoreline is misleading.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look like it was less close than it really was. Came down to the wire there. But again, Rogue, when they were doing well, so there was two things Rogue did on their attacks that I think highlighted a few times that were really the key difference.
Oh my god.
I'm not surprised at all, but my goodness, yeah, double what Eclipse has and nearly double Easily as well. Basically nearly double everyone on Mouz at that point. He was a one-man army. So I guess three things that they did well. One of them was bringing Shuttle.
Yeah.
But in this case, yeah, the way that they were starting to push from multiple directions and droning well before they did so, those last couple rounds, that was great. As well as those early smoke plants on the outside. I mean, it didn't work on vents the way they would have liked, but overall, it was interesting to see two teams playing very differently, some different operator choices as well, but both attack sides were very, very different. Something you don't always see. You see usually a lot of similarity between the two teams. But either way, credits to Rogue in pulling it off, and maybe now having a chance. Yeah, Shuttle maybe having a chance to go to Rio.
Yeah, this is the point where you say prepare for trouble and make it Shuttle, because he's not easy to deal with at all. The thing is, the post-plant positions that were held by Rogue were excellent.
Yeah, it was
except for their armor.
Bullish. Yeah, I mean that last round though, just the bullets everywhere. You walk into anywhere in that room, you're in a tough situation. I like the smoke trying to cover for himself, though, smoking out the window on AC, trying to push into archives. Unfortunately for him, timing was not on his side as they rotated right over that hole, and he was mid-vault. What can you do at that point? So a great attempt at retake, but just fell apart so fast.
Yeah, this play from the Pulse there could have changed the outcome of the round.
Yeah, I gotta blame Vandal or Vertical a little bit for that, because instead of making the play, he rechecked it like 3 times. I appreciate you wanting to double check your work and make sure that you don't C4 the wrong person, but if someone's standing still there, they're either on drone, they're watching an angle, or they're planting. In this situation, you got to figure they were probably planting because of the way they've been playing for aggressive early plants. So.
Yeah, even though the glass wasn't available, maybe that's the thing that tripped them off, but because there was still the Dokkaebi holding off on the ventilation, you still have the DMR, which for me still does quite a bit of damage.
If you used to do it a lot of tap firing, you can pull it off. Same with Buck's DMR, the cameras as well. You rarely see the Twitch one, but either way, yeah, there's a few good DMRs in the game, and Slash just seems comfortable with that switch, because we were talking earlier about part of the reason why you don't see Dokkaebi as much is just the DMR can be uncomfortable to use.
All right, I guess we have an interview lined up, and we'll start off our first matchup with a victory. Here we go. Tristan, good evening.
How's it going?
Pretty good. It's a pretty good win there for the team, securing 6-4 spot. First of all, you guys go up in the rankings. How well do you think you have to do to make it through to Rio, being so close to the top now?
I mean, it's possible. We got to win out the rest of the season, so we've got Obey, I think, coming up next, and we got to put together a good game plan and get a win against them, and we'll go from there. We're not out, but we had a slow start to the second half of the season, so we kind of put ourselves in a harder than necessary spot to get ourselves a spot at win, but it's not out of reach yet, so we're optimistic.
All right, well, last time we spoke, it was back at Valencia DreamHack, and you mentioned that the ground floor defense on border is a bit of a complicated matter for the defenders. What's your point? Because you guys kind of struggled in that ground floor defense, except for that 1v2 clutch that we saw from Shuttle.
It's not necessarily the entire bottom floor defense. It's mostly the vent site. I think when Mira's not available, it's hard to maintain enough control up top without having too many people up there to where you're vulnerable to like any fast vents pressure. So we lost twice on the vent site, and we ended up going over to customs. We just realized that, hey, what we're doing is not working against the east pressure they were doing. They're pretty methodical about how they were taking it. So we just swapped up what site we were doing, and were able to get an extra round on defense, gave us a 3-2 lead in the half, and obviously that helped out with a close game.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see how, and Emzo touched on this, you guys were winning similar bomb sites, but in completely different ways of attacking them. I have to say, you guys' attack on the customs area was very well played. Was that glass position planned all along? And how was the drone phase for you to gather information before heading in and going for the quick plant with Super?
Yeah, they just saw something in the site. They wanted to go for it quick. That actually the glass spot up on top of the fence there was found today, a couple hours before the match, when we were going over some final stuff before we started. So it happened to come in handy.
Boostmeister, let's just say it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything you'd like to add to all of this, to maybe something to your fans at the end of this victory day?
Yeah, it's been a slow start to the season, but thank you everyone who's continued supporting us this far, and we look forward to getting some wins to close it out and catch ourselves a spot at LAN.
All right. Thank you very much, Ranger. Congratulations again on the win.
Thank you.